instead focus on the book's journey and partnerships, and also the readers, because we publish books for a very specialized market. It's mostly, poetry, short stories. So the readers who would seek us out wouldn't be necessarily readers who would buy books on sale. So those are the readers that we are trying to reach out to, because they would eventually help sustain our press.
Um, yeah, I've learned a lot of hard lessons. I think maybe one is that maybe one that comes to mind is that doing this kind of work, where it's a lot about creating opportunities. Sometimes but those opportunities can't go to like everyone, and also situations come up where you have to deal with making a decision about like whether or not you're going to hold true to what your values are, while knowing that the person that or the situation that you are having to make a decision on, if you stick to holding your decisions, you're going to disappoint someone, you're going to upset someone, and knowing that like at some point like folks aren't going to like you, and as someone that has struggled with that, it's the having to learn that lesson. It's like kind of been a lesson that I needed to learn. So
I think for us, my biggest ongoing obstacle, well, I think it's just like two things, is paying attention. Like I think what Eileen's saying, like paying attention to the actual business of running a bookstore, and not just treating it like whatever I want to do all the time, which is very hard because I'm very, I think like strong-willed, and sometimes I just do stuff because I want to. And I turned 50 this year, and up until 5 years ago, I was always reporting to somebody else and had to ask for permission from somebody else to do whatever it was that I wanted to do. And so it is kind of addicting to be able to be like, I want to do that, I'm going to do it. And so this year and going into next year, I think is also a time for us to like pull back and reflect and see like what are the things that are actually, what has been successful from a community standpoint, and what has been successful, as a sustainable business, because they're, unfortunately not always in alignment. But I feel very strongly that our community supports us in Long Beach and beyond, and I think that there is a place for independent bookstores to be in their communities, because people obviously want them, and I'm always excited when I find a new independent bookstore that I didn't know about. So I feel like it'll be fine. And in terms of successes, this year we celebrate 5 years of being on 4th Street in Long Beach, which is a big deal for us because there was potential for us to have to close last year because of some changes in our umbrella store. So that's super exciting, and just continuing the partnerships with the Long Beach Public Library in terms of the different festivals that we hosted and other events, and just continuing to be a place for authors and readers to come together.
I think one of the things I had to negotiate, especially with the pandemic and everything, is just it's just being a mom. Like I was an older mom. I was a late mom, so going to my kids' karate competition, like his belt changing thing, or going to like an event at night, I'm just like, I think I want to see my son get his belt changed. Like I don't know, to be emotionally and physically there when the times of the year, like summertime, like to do events. I got really strong. My muscles are so big now because I'm carrying books. But like on the weekends, like I feel like I just disappear. Like my partner's watching our son, and and I'm just not there, and I don't know how that's gonna impact him in the future. Like, you didn't go to my thing, and now I'm like scarred forever. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm selling books for the community. So it's just negotiating, also learning how to like forgive myself, because I guess I'm the hardest one on myself about like I'm not here enough, or I didn't do the laundry this week, I'm really sorry, like I didn't make dinner, or I just wasn't there for myself, and just, you know, just say F it. Like, you know, just there's just events in your life that you just want to say F it to everything, and you know, like October is Filipino History Month, like I'm sorry, but like right now I just really want to hide in a corner and just F it, like, and like, but every week there's a thing, and just being okay with thinking like that and not holding like all that in all the time, and so that's one of the things, is just like, am I being a family to my family, and am I being a family to myself, and is that like, and how do I combine that with being a business owner? Because like my whole life, like our family owned a business, and so I'm just kind of used to that, you know. But then being with a partner that's not used to that, and just kind of like, you know, and do I need to pull my son in, and like start carrying books? Like, we gotta start carrying books now because these are like, or do you want to do karate? I don't know, you know, like, and having those moments with myself. I'm just, you know, it's. I'm sorry, it has been a month, and it's only the middle of the month, and I'm just, and so it has been one of those things in your life. You're just like I need to pause. So like, I think the community will forgive me if I just said F it just for 5 minutes, and then I can turn back around and be like pleasant again, or be front facing and okay with yourself, or okay with myself. I think that's the negotiation I have right now, is just, can I do this? Like, especially during the pandemic, I'm like, should we keep the books there? Because all the books are in our storage now, and I don't know if I can keep bringing in books and selling enough so that we're not in a house of boxes. Just taking an inventory all the time. I don't know. Do you have a lot of books around your house?
Yeah, we do. You know, I do have one last thing that I'd like to briefly hear from every single one of you. But for Pawa, it's again, we've been around for about 22, almost 23 years now. And so I would say that the ongoing thing for everybody, organization, is staying afloat financially. So we're looking at how can we grow our donations, sponsorships, and grants. That's very important. And also another thing is, like, as we evolve, how do our roles within the board evolve, you know, as we move forward, so that we are all sane and not going crazy, right? And not giving up, so keeping hope. Okay, I'd like to end actually with, what is your advice to anyone who wants to follow in your footsteps?
Before I answer that, I have to, I've been talking about partnerships, but I have to thank my husband, who has been so supportive. You know, Paul understands, I love publishing, even more than poetry, and that's saying a lot. I love publishing. And so my advice would be, you have to believe in what you're doing, especially when no one else is able. And I keep telling the students I mentor when I was poet laureate, I keep telling them, don't let anyone else tell your story. And that's how I approach publishing, community work, being a community poet. You just have to keep looking for possibilities, and never underestimate the power of relationships.
Thank you, Aileen.
I mean, I guess for me, like, you know, working in the arts, it's like, you know, to remember to be a fan of, you know, the arts, and to seek it out, and to kind of expand and search for like things that, you know, because you know, an important thing too is to understand what your aesthetic is, and what is the stuff that like satisfies that, and also to know that is to know, like, if that's your aesthetic, you know, to also know to not just when you make these decisions or when you curate or anything like that, that you're not limited to just what your aesthetic is. And so, yeah, I think it's to just really engage with the arts and yeah, and they do so with all the enjoyment and passion that requires.
Thank you, Jason. Jhoanna?
For me, in terms of like, if you wanted to start your own bookstore, I would say like, number one, do your research, and figure out, what is your bookstore going to be about, and everything that you can research about that. Like, I love that, Lily, like you were like, can I just work at Archipelago first? Because it's a retail job, and so, maybe you don't like that, because it is customer facing, and you definitely have days where I just feel like I just want to go home and put my pajamas on and not speak to anyone for 24 hours. And I do live with my husband, who's a very supportive partner, but sometimes I'm just like, I'm gonna watch this thing on Netflix for 6 hours, do your thing. And he's happy to do that. So that would be my first piece of advice. And, but I think also, in partnership with that is, which I think I've heard from somebody else, was like, feel the fear, but do it anyway. Like, if you really feel passionate about something, do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I think I am sadder about things that I didn't do in the past that I wish when I was younger, I wish I'd traveled more, I wish I did this. And I think those regrets have stayed with me longer than, like the fear of trying things. And I think if it's something that you're passionate about, like you'll be able to see that in what comes through.
With all the grievances I had, I really love the bookstore. I've loved it ever since I was in my 20s, and I love it now, and I love speaking to customers. And it's a lot easier than working in a restaurant. It's just heavier. And a piece of advice is, yeah, just love it, and know that it's hard work, and know that it's gonna suck sometimes, and it's okay. And if you want to tell someone about it, find someone to tell someone about it, or find someone to talk about it with, especially if you know fellow business owners. You can talk to them about it, and then you can all complain about things not coming in on time, and create kind of like a little club of business owner friends, entrepreneur friends, and just do it, just risk it, just once. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. It hasn't worked out for me before, and it's okay. And it's not embarrassing, it just happens. And don't be afraid, just do it.
Thank you. And lastly, there's so many things we can talk about, right? But we need to finish. But for me, if you are going to be in an organization, if you are going to create a board, if you're going to create a group for your project, whether it's literary, artistic, to me the very important thing is make sure you all share the same vision. That you're all working together, not working against each other. Because if you're going to be selfish about your vision, you have no business being in that organization. You should all share the same vision, and you should all share the successes and failures. And most importantly, don't give up. Go forward. You might have to revisit and readjust your vision for it to be successful, because life is not always going to be the way you planned it. But you can still go ahead and succeed. Thank you for coming. And thank you, Aileen, and our guest, sounds very, very important, Yeah. Jason, Jhoanna, and Lily, thank you. And thank you for staying with us today.
Thank you.